do that. Let's try that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, men and women, boys and girls, everybody across the fruited plains, this is Gary Keith coming to you live from beautiful Raleigh, North Carolina, where the weather is mild and the days are bright and not rubbing in on our Minnesota friends. But it is great to have you here on March 20th, 2023 here. And the doctor, as they say, is in the house, the doctor of insurance, as we talk about the psychology of the sale. And this will be going on for several weeks. We're going to get into the mind of the client. We're going to get to the mind of the prospect, and we're going to help you close more sales, make more money, and impact more lives in the insurance world. You know, I've been doing this now in sales for 40 years, 40 years. I know, thank you so much for the compliments. I know I barely look 40, so thank you very much. I've been in the insurance business for 30 years. And one of the things I've learned, there is an art to selling. There is an art to closing. And so with this workshop, we're going to get like hands-on, roll up our sleeves, nitty-gritty, get pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, and we're just going to jump in with both feet so that you can get better. You know, if you're going to make the kind of money that we want to make, we have to hone our craft. We've got to do like the doctors, the surgeons, the lawyers, the accountants, the bankers, the highly intelligent people. We're going to have to invest in our business. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to invest in what we're doing so that we can get better at this game, but more importantly, so that we can bless lives out there and make an impact upon our communities. So that's what the psychology of the sale is all about. So a little bit of background, years and years ago, probably before many of you were even born, I decided to jump into the sales world with both feet. I was starving, struggling, as most people do in the beginning, and a friend of mine handed me a book. He handed me a book, which I highly recommend to everybody on this call tonight if you don't have it. And it's not going out of style, or it hasn't, you know, worn its welcome out. It's called The Secrets of Closing the Sale by Zig Ziglar. Secrets of Closing the Sale by Zig Ziglar. And so my friend saw that I was starving. He saw that I was struggling. He says, Gary, listen, if you're going to ever do anything and make anything out of life, you're going to have to learn how to close the sale, the art of closing the sale. You're going to have to learn how to roll up your sleeves, get down to the nitty gritty. And so he turned me onto that book. And I'm going to tell you what, from that moment forward, I began to learn how to do the art of closing the sale. And a lot of it is psychology. It's getting into the nitty gritty of understanding the mindset of the client, what they're thinking, how they're thinking, and what motivates them to take action. Most of it is through nonverbal cues and clues. Write this down. 93% of all communication is nonverbal. Well, if that is the case, if 93% is nonverbal, how do you and I read with our eyes and listen with our ears and watch through body language to be able to determine what that person needs, what they want, what motivates them, what causes them to take action? How can you and I pick up those signals to help us close one more sale this week that we typically would have missed if we'd have been able to read that language? I'm going to give you examples. I'm going to share stories. I'm going to give you some hints. I'm going to give you some things, some tools to take with you to pick up on those things, from the phone call to the door approach to the presentation, the closing the sales, to giving referrals, and to branding yourself.
Yeah.
If you only picked up one
Oh yeah,
nugget,
I got
just one nugget. Someone's phone's unmuted.
135.
See if I can mute that.
My name is Tawan Bond.
There we go. So if you can only pick up one thing that's going to help you, that could put another sale in your pocket per week, think about this: $500 per week over a 50-week period is what? $25,000? One sale per week. So this course I'm going to share with you comes through 40 years of learning, training, blood, sweat, and tears, paying for courses, going to see motivational speakers, going to different classes, and learning these things. And I'm going to share these with you for free. All I ask you to do is take notes and apply these principles. As you do, you're going to watch your sales skyrocket. All right, so tonight we're going to be defining a few things before we jump into the nitty-gritty of some of these things. Oh, shoot, I'm sharing the wrong thing. Okay, let me go back to this. I want to share a screen with you here. And the first one is going to be, okay, where did it go? Where did it go? Where did it go? Okay. Okay, I'm trying to get my documents out here. Here we go. First of all, let's define the word psychology tonight. Let's define it so you'll understand what I'm talking about when it comes to getting to the mind, the heart of your client. Number one, Joe, are you able to see that and read that for us?
No, so all it shows is you pointing to a PDF file.
Oh, so you can't see the actual thing itself.
It's like it's not open. I don't know.
Oh, interesting. Okay, great. The best laid plans of mice and men. Okay.
Hey, Gary.
Yeah,
Hey,
how
Gary,
about that?
If it opened up in a separate screen, then you have to click on share and it'll bring up the menu and you can share that particular screen.
Okay, how about this one? Can you see this?
That one's the
Nothing?
same thing, it looks like.
Okay.
That's just a list of your PDFs.
Okay. Well, it shows it open. Okay, on this end. All righty. All righty. Well,
But what I'm
great,
saying
great.
is click on share.
Uh-huh.
If you click on share, it should bring up the new screen, or bring up the new screen, then click share, and it should give you that option. Because it probably opened up in a different tab.
Okay. So that shows you nothing there.
There you go. That's it.
That's it? Okay. Very good. All righty. Read that for us, Joe, if you don't mind.
So psychology, the scientific study of the human mind and its functions, especially those affecting behavior in a given context.
Great. Now read the next one where it says similar.
So similar, the mental characteristics or attitudes of a person, group, plural noun, psychologies, the psychology of Americans in the 1920s. Similar, the mental and emotional factors governing the situation or activity, the psychology of interpersonal relationships.
We're going to focus on that last one, the mental and emotional factors governing a situation or activity. What situation are we trying to govern in this business? Let me ask you that. Taiwan, what situation are we trying to govern or work with in our business?
Protecting families.
Correct.
Providing
absolutely
insurance
right.
for them.
Yeah, protecting families, helping them get an insurance policy. So we're going to be looking at the emotional and mental factors governing that. And there is emotional and mental, and we know that because we know that most sales are emotional, and we need to get into the mindset of the client. That's where the psychology is. See, this is just much more than just taking a presentation and going down the road and spitting it out as fast as we can, trying to get down to the end and see where the chips fall. This is much deeper than that. This is actually not only understanding what you say, but why you say it. Why? What is the purpose? Why am I letting words come from my lips? Why did I choose those words? What was it about that statement is going to motivate Miss Betty or Mr. Billy to take action today? Was it an impact word? Was it an impact phrase? Was it something that Miss Betty did not like or Mr. Billy didn't like? What was it that I just said that's either motivating or unmotivating the next person? Words, ladies and gentlemen, write this down. Words are energy. And words set off something in your mind and in my mind to make us have certain thoughts. So our psychology of the sale is going to begin to the mental and emotional factors governing the sale of insurance. All righty. So that's psychology. All right, Rick, read the definition of sale. Can you see that, Rick?
Yep, just a second here. It's a little
Okay.
small on my screen. We'll get there. Yep, I got it. The exchange of a commodity for money, the action of selling something, we withdrew it from sale. Similar quantity or amount sold. Price cuts failed to boost sales. The activity or business of selling products, and then director of sales and marketing. And 2, a period during which a retailer sells goods at reduced prices, a clearance sale.
All righty, so we're going to focus on the first one. What product or commodity are we exchanging for money, Rick? What commodity are we exchanging for money?
In this situation, in insurance, I would assume it would be security.
Yes, or peace of mind, you could say.
Yeah.
Peace of mind, security, protection, all of those words we could use. Now, the big challenge with this sale that we're making is that it's intangible. What does that mean, Rick?
You can't see it, feel it, or touch it. We're selling a theory.
Correct. You can't taste it. You can't smell it. Boy, unlike when you drive by a restaurant and smell what's cooking, you go like, man, I got to stop in there. That place just smells awesome. Or if you're doing some window shopping and you see something through the window, go like, that looks amazing. Or you go to a car dealership to buy a car, and the first thing they do is put you in it, in that nice smelling inside, especially the leather. Of course, Rob Appel could talk to us all about this all day long, and the power of the senses that are involved in the sale. We have none of those at our discretion. We can't put our arms around it. We can't pick it up. We can't look at it. We can't taste it. We can't hear it. And we can't smell it. That makes it for a very difficult sell.
Started out with Chris and me.
So no wonder we want to get into the psychology, the mind, the emotion, the heart of the client. That's the only way that we can sell this product and make it make sense and for them to keep it. So keep that in mind as you're thinking about the insurance products and what you're offering. You've got to be able to be great at creating visualization, painting the future for the client, creating stories where they're actually walking a mile in your shoes and they can see themselves walking down that path. You've got to be fantastic at being able to grab their attention with certain words, certain phrases, certain stories. If you don't, you're going to lose your client. You're going to lose him quickly. So as we start going through the presentation and dissecting it, I'm going to share with you certain impact words and phrases that's going to create a mental image in my client's mind. And they're going to see themselves there. They're going to see themselves at that point. Because that's all you and I have in this business. Stories, creating visualizations, being able to help them walk a mile in your shoes, getting the emotions stirred up. Because we don't have anything for them to involve in the senses. And that's where we're headed. All right, next. Now, I call myself the doctor of insurance. That's what I'm talking about. And I don't mean the medical doctor that you're going to, that's going to fix your physical ailments. Let's see here. Rob Appel, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
All righty. If you can see right down to under number 1, where it says informal. Number 1, informal. Read that.
I'm trying to see what you're talking about. Number 1 is 2 number 1s. The one under verb.
Noun.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Noun. Under
Oh,
noun,
again.
informal.
All right, so you're talking about. All right, so informal. Okay. Let me see. Treat someone medically. I will doctor him every day until he is better. Remove the sexual organs of an
Let's
animal.
see, wait a minute. That's under
then it
number
cannot be
2.
produced.
That's
That's
number
informal
2.
all the way at the bottom.
You're up at the top. of where the
Oh, yeah?
noun
Oh,
is.
that's the bottom. Okay.
Okay,
So
mine
you
is
want me to read
showing,
number?
Up at the
Number-
top, under where it says North American, Rob.
North
Oh, I
American.
got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says
Is that right?
informal.
I must be losing my mind here. I see.
Okay,
On number one, I'm seeing a qualified practitioner of medicine. Is that what you're talking about?
okay, when you drop
Yeah,
down
right
to
where
where
it says
North,
informal though.
Okay.
go a few
All
more
right.
sentences down, it'll say informal.
A few more sentences down. Yeah, all the way at, I'm looking at all the way at the bottom. It says informal.
All right.
Right
that the
above the
one?
number. It's right above the number 2, Rob. Look right above the
Roderick,
number 2 at the
Can you
top.
read that, Roderick?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see it says a person who gives advice or makes improvements. The script doctor rewrote the original.
Okay, very good. Right there. So there's many definitions for a doctor. And I promise you, I'm not trying to be blasphemous here by calling myself a doctor, but after many, many years of studying this business, I'm a person who gives advice or makes improvements. That's the informal doctor, if you will. And so I'm making these improvements and advice in the insurance industry, in the insurance business, in the sales world. So we've got the psychology of the sale by the doctor of insurance. And let's look over here and see who's got, can read insurance for me. Number 2, can you see that one, Rob Appel?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
All right. A thing providing protection against a possible eventuality, adherence to high personal standards of conduct is excellent insurance against personal problems.
all righty. So I'm going to give you advice and I'm going to give you information on the insurance business to help protect against a possible eventuality. And of course, that's a generic definition, but you and I both know the business that we're in, there's no possible eventuality. It is a for certain. We all will pass away and need some sort of insurance protection. All righty, I can't see who and all I got with me here, but I got my screen shortened here. Let's see who else we got. Well, all right, let's see. Is Janet still with us? She had to go? All righty, no worries. Here we go.
Yeah, I think
Sales cycle.
she had to jump
Oh.
off. She'll be back.
Oh, I'm not
Oh.
jumping off. Can you hear me?
Yes, got you now.
No, I've been here. I had the mute on. What do you need?
Are you able to read from your phone?
Uh-huh.
Okay, if you can read this first paragraph, that'd be great.
At the top, what is the psychology of sales?
Correct.
And the rest of it? Okay, the psychology of sales is the science, get my glasses on, of consumer behaviors, emotions, and thought processes. Sometimes called buyer psychology. Sales psychology helps businesses and salespeople understand why and how customers choose to buy certain goods or services.
Excellent. Thank you, Jan. So here's the challenge with salespeople. And I've been teaching and training and motivating and working with salespeople my whole life. They're into what they say, but not into the why and the how. You see what the definition of sales psychology is? The better you get with understanding the why I'm saying what I'm saying, and then how to say it. Remember the old adage, people don't care too much about what you say. It's all in how you say it. You can tell probably somebody something really negative and maybe really something that another person would say to them would be really bad. But if you say it in such a loving, kind, understanding, wonderful way, you can still attract that person to make them to do what they wanted to do anyway. So you're not going to understand the why and the how of it. That's how you get into the mind of your client. This will also help you in your relationships, understanding why you say what you say before you say it with your spouse, your children, your friends, your loved ones, and then understanding how to say that, and then getting that psychological understanding. All righty, let's look next. Is Kevin with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Kevin, are you able to read the next paragraph for us?
Yeah, let me turn it on. Sales psychology studies, that one.
Yes.
Sales psychology studies the psyche of your target market to better understand how you can sell to them. Rather than focusing on convincing the customer they need your product or service, you zero in on emotional needs by putting yourself in their shoes.
Okay. So what this means is the psychology of sales is knowing and understand that people love to buy, but hate to be sold. How can you and I create a buying atmosphere instead of a selling environment? That's what I teach you how to do. How to create every encounter that you have with a client, a prospect, how to make it a buying atmosphere instead of a selling environment. And 90% plus people, when they're selling, are creating a selling environment. People can read it like a book. That's what turns them off. That's why you get to think about objection. That's why they want to sleep about it, kick it around, chat with someone, talk with someone, get back with you, leave me a business card. All of those objections is because typically we create a selling environment, not a buying atmosphere. Raise your hand if you want to be able to close at a much higher level. Great. Well, then the more you understand how to create a buying atmosphere, which I'm going to show you how to do, because people love to buy. Look at the clothes you wear, look at the house you live in, look at the car you drive, look at the jewelry you buy, look at the things you have in your home, look at your furniture. You can't tell me you don't love to buy what you want to buy. You do, but you hate to be sold. You can smell a person who's a salesperson coming from a mile away, depend upon their body language, their attitude, and their voice inflections, or the lack thereof, or their tone of voice, or their fake smile, or their fake encounters, whatever it may be. You're trying to find a way to get away from them. You feel like someone just poured slime all over you. I'm going to help you get away from that and teach you how to create that buying atmosphere in every encounter. Now, some of the sales psychology principles we'll be discussing, learning, and implementing are reciprocity. Who might know what that word means? Can anybody give me a definition in the sales world, the marketing world? What is reciprocity?
If no one takes it, I'll do it, but give somebody
yeah.
a chance. Anybody want to grab that?
Nobody's volunteered. Go ahead, Rob.
So if you're going to give something, you're going to get something.
Amen.
That's basically the foundation of sales.
Brother, you hit the nail on the head. How might that apply to us in the insurance business with what we're doing, selling final expense or whatever, Miss Betty? How might reciprocity and value apply? What are we giving? What are we doing?
Peace of mind.
We're giving peace of mind. What else? You ever heard the old adage, people aren't necessarily buying a product, but they're buying you? If that is the case, then what are the reasons why Miss Betty or Mr. Billy would buy me? What is it about me that I'm giving a gift to them that they would feel like they need to give me something back in return?
They
Whether
trust,
it's, go ahead.
they trust you.
Yeah, that's a big one, right, Jan?
Big.
That's huge. What else?
They like you.
They like me as a person? Yeah, absolutely. Like me. They trust me. Those are all great things that they definitely, that they sense about me, that's going to cause them to want to give me something in return. Their time, their attention, their monies, their referrals, their future referrals, future business, so many things. And so that's where the value comes in. What type of value am I offering to my client? So we'll be discussing those things as time goes along. Authority and expert, when we talk about that psychology principles, how do I come across as the authority figure, the expert figure? We'll be talking about credibility and believability, trust and liking. You just mentioned that, Jan. Communication and connection, need and necessity. We'll also be discussing urgency and scarcity mentality. People want what they can't have. Desire, want. People will move heaven and earth to get the things they want in life, even if they don't necessarily need it. If they want it bad enough, they'll find a way to get it. We're all like that. Opening to question versus temperature checks. We'll talk about the psychology of story, sale, and benefits tale. We'll discuss about the crescendo effect. Oh man, the climatic point in sales. How to up your voice, how to change your voice, how to use tonality. We'll talk about the important things of multiple options and middle of the road thinkers. How most of us are like warm, we don't like hot or cold. We just like to be right in the middle. How to get people to move from the left to the right. We'll talk about the closer, the assumptive mentality, referrals, organic growth. And then we'll discuss retention and branding, how all the psychology behind these things will help you close more sales on a day-to-day basis, not month to month, but day-to-day, every day. All righty, let's go back to Joe. Joe, can you read this on body language?
The process of communicating non-verbally through conscious or unconscious gestures and movements. His intent was clearly expressed in his body language: eyes, face, eyebrows, mouth, hands, arms, shoulders, torso, legs, feet, stance, and posture.
Now, most of us, if we're going to look at body language, we mainly look at facial expressions. Look at the other things that are involved in the nonverbal cues and clues. Give me an example of someone with their arms that might show you different types of body language. Who can give me an example with your arms?
If their arms are crossed.
Excellent. Is that you, Kevin?
Yeah,
Yeah, what does that tell you?
that says they're closed off. They're
Right. Yes. I like that so much. Yeah, their body
You're
language.
not in there, baby?
Their body language is closed. Maybe their mind is closed. Maybe they don't believe you. They don't trust you. They don't like you. They can't wait for you to
I
leave.
can't remember.
My goal as a salesperson is
think
how
I did.
can I unfold their arms and get
I
their
may have.
body leaning into me?
had 2 boxes of
That's definitely one of the
clothes.
things I'm going to be looking at. All righty, give me an example of someone with their legs. Most of us don't pay attention to people's legs when it comes to a sales presentation. How might someone's legs signify to me something?
If their legs are crossed, you cross your, if your client's legs are crossed, you cross your legs too.
Kind of mirror, mimic what they're doing.
Mhm.
Excellent. Anything else on that?
I do have.
Who's got
Does it
something?
Does it have to do with their feet pointing toward you or something like that? Something about the way that they're full frontal towards you or off to the side is how comfortable they are with you.
That is absolutely correct, Kevin. Is there feet and legs like turned away from you, or are they pointing toward you? Excellent. That's great analysis there, and that's absolutely correct and right. Yes. Something else about people's legs and feet. If their legs are crossed, especially a man, and they're sitting there constantly up and down in their knee and their leg, and it's moving, that tells you a lot about them as well. That's either an anxious person. There's a lot of anxiety there. There's going to be some trust issues going on. So there's many things you can learn about the legs and feet as you watch them and pay attention to them.
Hey, Gary?
Yes.
Also, something that I look at too when I'm in the home, especially with males, is if when their legs are crossed, if they're crossed at the knees or if they're crossed at the ankles. I think if they're sitting up straight up and they're crossed at the knees, it's more of a comfort level for me as opposed to if they're crossed at the ankles.
Yes. Who was that said that?
Melvin.
Melvin, great job. That's excellent and absolutely perfect. Yes, you're right. How about the body posture and stance? What do you have with that? And this can be done with relationships as well as in the sales world. What do you notice about posture and stance? Whether you're slouched in your chair, sitting up erect, slouched while standing, leaning up against something, standing on your own, what do you notice about that?
You tend to get better contact, especially eye contact, when people are standing straight up or sitting straight up. You know, what I've experienced is if people are slouched over, their attention span is kind of on and off. They're not really, paying too much attention to you. You're going to have to do things to try to get their attention more, as opposed to if they're sitting straight up. And what I also learned, not to get too far off track, that people are going to mimic you. If you're sitting straight up, they'll tend to sit more straight up in their chair. If you're slouched over, they're going to tend to be slouched over as well.
Perfect. And your big point there was body language when people are standing or sitting, depending upon their posture, shows interest or not interest. So you got to be able to pick up on that. And we'll talk about that as we go along. I'm going to talk to you about how we as salespeople sit, how we may change our posture from the way we sit throughout the presentation. That's going to give off signals. How we read that from the clients will give off signals. And those things will help you be able to understand if your client's interested in you or not. All right, let's move on. Let's go on to tonality next. Let's see here. Let's see who hasn't read yet. Rob, are you able to see this? The first two bullet points.
Hang on, let me check. Hang on. I'm trying right now. Yes, I can. All right. Well, yeah, the first two bullet points I can. You're talking about at the bottom of the screen, right?
Should be right there. Tonality.
Right. So tonality, yeah. You want me to read that, right?
Yes.
Tonality accounts for 38% of the way we communicate with one another. Words, 7%. Body language, 55%. A warm, friendly voice makes all the difference when it comes to building rapport and establishing trust. It will help you influence and persuade people in business and their personal.
Yes, absolutely. So if I can help you, ladies and gentlemen, nothing else, just change your tonality. Be aware of your tonality, when to use voice inflections, when to change your voice, when to change your demeanor. If I can help you with all those things, that's going to help you increase your sales immensely by being able to accentuate certain words, enunciate certain words differently or better, and being able to grab your client's attention, depending upon what you need to emphasize at that moment. All right, let's go next to Rick. Let's do the heading and then the next two bullet points.
People may not remember what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Tone is the use of pitch in our voices and allows us to distinguish between words and convey emotions or emphasis. Vocal inflections are part of tonality, i.e. the way we say something.
What did you pick up from that right there, Rick? What stuck out to you?
The biggest part is how you say things. You can say, it's like we talk about tonality, it would be similar to like when you get an email from someone you can't quite understand how they're meaning something. But when you're talking, if you use voice inflection, you can put more enunciation on certain things to give a different impression to the person you're talking to.
Absolutely correct. Now listen, professional speakers, they're pros at this. This is what they do for a living. And that's why the statement up top is critical. People may not remember what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that's where your tonality and voice inflections come into play. That's where that sincerity, as Rob just spoke of earlier, being genuine in your tone of voice. People are going to remember that part. They're not going to remember much about the insurance presentation at all, very little. But they're going to remember how you made them feel. Did you make them feel motivated, inspired, excited, wanted to do something different in their life, change? They're going to feel all of these things. And they're going to say, when you walk away, man, I'm glad I'm doing business with that person. And I want to do business with them for the rest of my life. And I want to refer my kids and grandkids and all my neighbors to them. That's where we're getting to. All righty, let's look next. Let's see here. Joe, read that topic and the 4 bullet points.
Punching and elongating are just 2 parts to tonality and making our voice unique. Punching, giving a word emphasis over other words. The real benefit to coaching is elongation is enunciating a word or phrase slower than other words or phrases to add dramatic effect.
You pick up from there, Joe.
Just basically the same thing. How you're saying a word, if you, like it says, elongate a word, it's something that you're bringing a client attention towards. If there's something about a particular product that you want them to know about, then that's a word, a buzzword in that product you might want to elongate to make sure they remember that.
Absolutely right. So if you use this analogy here, ladies and gentlemen, you can practice this in front of your mirror. You can practice this at home with your presentation or with whatever else you want to do. And when you say things like the real benefit to this insurance product, Miss Betty, so you emphasize real, or you can go the real benefit to this product, Miss Betty, is, or you may go the real benefit to this product, Miss Betty, is. So you can use that by honing in on certain words. Keep yourself from going monotone. And that grabs their attention with whatever word you want to emphasize. Practice that, learn how to elongate and enunciate and pause and take your time on those words. Okay, I'm sorry, I got a thumbnail over here. People are here and I'm not seeing everybody. So let me see here who else I got on here. Let's see, Michael, are you in a position to read?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Read this next bold point and the next paragraph behind that.
Excuse me. Let's see. We are,
Your tonality.
make sure I'm at the right, okay. Picking up where it says your tonality.
Yes.
Okay. Your tonality has the ability to command attention and inspire your audience or bore and put them to sleep.
Everybody, please take note of that right there. That is critical. You and I are in the communication business. This is what we do for a living. We don't have widgets. We don't have gadgets. We don't have hamburgers and fries and milkshakes. Well, I mentioned this in the beginning of the whole presentation, if you mention it. You don't have a commodity that somebody can put their arms around, that they can sniff, they can listen to, they can see, they can taste, they can touch. We don't have any of that stuff. And unless you and I are using the right tonality, excitement, enunciation, elongation in our words, in our stories, in our benefits, in doing what we're doing, we're going to bore and put people to sleep. But they may not necessarily physically fall asleep. All they're going to do is mentally go to sleep and say to you, thank you. Leave me your card and I'll get back with you. You and I have got to put some pizzazz, some excitement, not overboard, not fakeness, not being disingenuous. I don't mean that. That stuff is way past where I'm at in my life, and hopefully you are too. I'm talking about having the command of tonality that we inspire our audience. And our audience is Miss Betty and Mr. Billy, to whatever level they are in their life financially. From a trailer out in the backwoods somewhere to a mansion in a major subdivision. Doesn't matter. The same holds true. Everybody puts their pants on the same way that I do and you do. But we have an audience and we have a chance to make a difference in their lives. And many times salespeople miss it. They miss it because they went in there with a rote presentation saying just what they memorized, and they had no passion, no feeling, no inspiration, nothing exciting to cause people to get off the dime. Your homework this week, until we meet next week, if that's you, you want to practice and do something different. Record yourself on your phone. There's a recording device, and listen to how you sound. Now, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. You're a big person, do what you want in life. I'm saying if you want to close it, if you want to go from 25 to 50, here it is. You go to 50 to 75, here it is. 75 to 90, here it is. It's being able to make people feel, what was that back here? People may not remember what you said. They will never forget how you made them feel. Feel. There you go. That's the emotional side. This is the inspiration, motivation. This is the command. And it's inspirational of the audience. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. Go ahead, Michael. Next paragraph.
Okay. While you can't change your voice unless you're a very good impersonator, you can change the way you articulate and pronounce phrases, which will improve tonality and help in sales and life.
What does that say to you, Michael, right there?
There's different, you can say things in some different ways. Everybody has their own voice, unique voice, along with their personality. But you can change the way you say particular words and phrases to emphasize things. Kind of put an emphasis more where you want it.
Yes. Excellent.
That would be one thing I would think.
Correct. All right, this information, thank you, Michael. This information aims to provide an analysis of what actually comprises tonality and how you can adjust yours to improve your sales calls and meetings. Jason, are you in a position to read this next paragraph?
You want at the top underneath why is tonality important?
Correct. Yes, please.
Tonality is a crucial aspect of communication as it portrays a person's character through a non-visual medium. Using tonality correctly allows you to build rapport quickly. You appear confident, high value, intelligent, and an expert in your field, which attracts attention and allows you to influence others.
Excellent.
Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, go ahead. The next little part, yes.
Developing rapport is the foundation of effective communication and relationship building.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Isn't that interesting? That's the first step. That's the foundation of the sales process. Building rapport. Now, you call it rapport building. I call it making a connection. Because to me, it's much deeper than that. We'll talk about that later. But it's your rapport building section of the presentation. This is where people are deciding, are they going to buy me or not? They're listening to me as I'm talking in the beginning. Am I interesting? Am I inspiring? Am I motivating? Do I seem like I'm fun? Do I seem like I'm someone they want to hang around or do business with or refer their friends to? What do they see in me? I want to make sure I make that impression good because I only got a few minutes to do so, and my tonality will play a huge part in that. All righty, let's see here. Ken, are you available to read the next paragraph?
I'm actually in Food Line shopping, man, getting some milk for the babies.
No worries, brother. We'll catch you next time. Thank you, my friend. All right, Manny, are you available to read the next paragraph?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother.
Aldo, what is it? Civico? Civico, who holds a PhD in working conflict resolution for 25 years, has stated, without report, there is no interested in the message you want to communicate or the service that you want to provide. Without report, there is little chance to influence or persuade others.
Excellent. Thank you, Manny. So we're going to teach you how to do a proper rapport building session, which I call a connectivity stage. It's deeper than just talking about chit-chatting about stuff in life. I want to teach you how to make a real connection that's going to actually set the stage for the whole presentation, that's going to prepare you to read your client like a book, to be like a detective, to be the doctor of insurance, if you will. Okay, let's see. Sandra, are you in a position to read next paragraph? Okay, I think Sandra had to leave. Let's see here. How about Melvin?
Yes, sir. Tonality transcends the specific words you say. It's an emotional signal that frames the logical side of a conversation. This is important as emotional cues register faster than logical ones, and decisions are actually based on emotion.
What do you take from that, Melvin, right there?
Well, what I get from it is the way you talk to a person, the way you deliver information to them, the way you make them feel. What we were talking about earlier. It's not about what you say, it's, the way that you make them feel. That registers faster, than the words that you say. And as it said in the latter part of this, and we all know, decisions are based on emotions. So you have to tug at their emotional side.
Excellent. Excellent. And that's the business that we're in. Once again, I want to reiterate to you tonight, we're not selling hot dogs, hamburgers, fries, shakes, cars, furniture, houses. We can't have our clients get in and test drive it. We can't have them smell it, taste it, feel it, hear it, sense it. We can't. So we have to create that visually. That's the beauty about what we do. I think if you can sell insurance or an intangible product, you can absolutely sell anything. I love it. There's no better product on the earth, as far as I'm concerned, to sell than insurance. I love it. What it does for families, the impact it makes, and the joy that it brings about with families. It's just amazing. But we got to get that out of us and into them. And if you aren't getting that out, then that's why you're getting the pushback. That's why you're missing the opportunities, whether it's on the phone, at the door, in the house, or afterwards. We're going to try to remedy that. The doctor of insurance is going to help provide a remedy for you so that you can overcome those challenges, those sales challenges, to get those sales made. All righty. As an extreme example, think about how you communicate with a baby or an animal. I've got kids and grandkids, so you know what I'm talking about. I'm willing to bet you speak in a funny, high-pitched voice. Give me a thumbs up on here if everybody's got kids or grandkids and they speak to them in a funny or high-pitched voice. Let me see some love on the chat line by giving me a thumbs up. You know what I'm talking about. I had my grandkids in town this past weekend, you going goo goo and gaga and you make all these sounds and row, row, row your boat. And old MacDonald has a farm and you're singing all kind of stuff to them. And you're having fun with them. And it's amazing. Listen to this. It doesn't even matter what you say to this little baby or infant or child. If your tonality is positive and happy, the baby will often laugh and the animal will usually come to you for a pat. Isn't that interesting? Neither one who have really good verbal skills, well, the animal has none, and the baby is really low on that totem pole and is not sensing their senses well at this point from the eyes, the ears, and all that stuff. But they hear your tone, and boy, they come closer to you, and they feel the love, and they respond. Exact words spoken aren't likely to be understood by the animal, apart from trained words like sit, stay, etc. But ask the dog how his day was, and he's not likely to respond. If you yell at the dog, your tonality probably upset him or her, and he or she will probably react accordingly, sheepish, or even aggressive back. They may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Hey, Gary,
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
a good example of that, and everybody could try this if they have a pet at home.
Okay.
You can say anything to that pet. You could say, I'm so upset that you pooped on the floor. Come here, baby. And that dog's going to think it's okay, that he does not understand what you're saying. He doesn't care. It is 100% in how you're saying it and the tonality. At the same time, if you said the dog was a good dog, but you were saying it with a harsh voice, they're going to take that as if you're mad and they're going to want to stay away.
Boy, beautiful, beautiful. Who else has a comment in relation to what Rob just said there? Anybody want to piggyback on that?
Well, I just want to say, in sales, like, my favorite line that I was taught is, people don't hear what you say, they feel what you say. So, piggybacking off what you said, that you're right, they're actually going to feel what you say, you know. It's just how you say it and your voice tone and your voice modulation. And I think that's one of the most important parts of getting a sale is how you say things to the client or to the prospect.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Great point, Ken. Your homework assignment this week for every person on here is to work on your tonality. Work on what you're saying to be an inspiration to the people you come in contact with. Work on your voice inflections and enunciating certain words, using elongation as part of that. Watch how the person responds back to you. Practice on a spouse, a child, a loved one, a friend, someone. Get used to changing it and being different. Also, watch in the house how your client is responding to the words you're saying. Are you moving them? Are you changing them? Do they look uninterested? What can you do to spice it up? I'm going to give you an example here, and then we're going to close out for tonight because we're at that 1 hour mark. And we're going to be using this stuff all throughout the next several weeks. So when I'm getting ready to do what I call my personal credibility statement, it's right after rapport building, which I call my connectivity stage. What I'm trying to do is to knock out all competition. I'm trying to get my client's attention real quickly. I want to separate myself. I want to inspire her. And I go things like my bridge statement out of rapport is, well, Miss Betty, gosh, I could talk to you all day long about your family, but I know that you got places to go, people to see, and things to do. Remember, every word you say must mean something, or don't say it. You want to have an impact on that person. So, Miss Betty, let me begin by saying that this is what I do full time for a living. I've dedicated Hear that impact word and the impression I put on that word? See, this generation, I don't know if you know much about this generation, we're gonna be talking about that next week as well, is that a handshake was their word, it was their bond. I've dedicated my life, Miss Betty, to helping people get things in place before it's too late. Gosh, Miss Betty, I've been doing this business now for 30 years. You know what, Miss Betty, I had hair when I started. I'm looking for a chuckle, a response, a lightening up a little bit, but at the same time, I'm letting her know I'm serious. My body language, I'm leaning forward, not leaning back in my chair. I'm looking for her attention. And watch this. Miss Betty, let me tell you why I do what I do for a living. I want to pause there for a second. I want her to feel my soul, not just see my body and my eyes. Remember, we are intangible. If I'm not selling me, I'm not selling anything. I'm messing around. Let me explain to you, Miss Betty, why I do what I do for a living. Slow it down, let it sink in. I'm going to the core. I'm going straight for the heart. Okay? Going straight for the heart. You know the best part about my job, Miss Betty? It's called using rhetorical questions. It's called, I don't looking for an answer. It's making them listen. It's an attention grabber. Questions always are. And this is the stuff we're going to be teaching you each week, how to do attention grabbers, how to grab the heart, and how to sell the intangible. Because if you don't get this, ladies and gentlemen, you aren't going to sell insurance very effectively. Remember, you're creating the smell, the sound, the eyes, and you're creating it through words and painting pictures. Brochures, forget that nonsense. Brochures mean nothing. They really don't. Your pitch book, show the family, show the dog, show the, well, boy, I'm going to tell you, those are fine. But the real sale is made through this, to how she feels it, and how she hears it, and how that registers with her. Let me tell you the best part about my job, Miss Betty. The best part about my job is when your daughter Mary, now I'm getting very personal. I'm not saying your daughter only, I'm using the name. Where did I get the name from? I got it during my warm-up. When your daughter Mary is going to call me one day, and she's going to say, I understand my mom had a policy with you. We need to use it. Ladies and gentlemen, there's so much psychology in that statement right there. I can't even begin to explain it to you. It's so deep what I just shared with you. I'm just going to get into the core of her mind and her heart. And those are the only two things I can get. I can't show her anything. All I can do is inspire her to move and take action. I just called her daughter by name. I just painted a picture for her. Her daughter's going to call me down the road and say, I understand my mom had a policy with you. I'm also assuming the sale. Did you catch the psychology of that? She might have, when I walked in the door, said, I'm shopping, I'm looking, I'm kicking tires. You're the fifth person I've seen. I don't care. Because the rest of the people didn't make Miss Betty feel anything. All they did was go through a rote presentation. That's all they did. They listened to the pitch their sales manager gave them. They turned a few pages in a notebook and showed them some pictures, and they're going straight for the jugular. Well, let me recommend you Miss Betty Omaha Mutual of Omaha, and let me recommend to you it's only $58 per month. And how do you want to do that, and when do you want to do it? There was nothing there. Zero. It was an empty can. That was it. But what I did, I'm going to make her feel differently and cause her to want to do business with me. I'm going to create a buying atmosphere. Everybody else is creating a selling atmosphere. I'm creating a buying one. So in her mind, I just conjured up her daughter making a call, down the road and saying to me, I understand my mom had a policy with you. We need to use it. I'm going to tell you right now, when I see their body language and their eyes, their eyebrows, and their hands, and how they're setting, and their posture, and how it changes, I'm telling you already, the sale is pretty much done. I ain't got done anything yet. And I'm not glad, Miss Betty, that your daughter had to call me. I'm just glad you had the foresight to get something in place for her now. The psychology behind that is so strong. I've already assumed it again, twice in a row. She called me, said my mom has a policy with you, and I'm not glad she had to do that. I'm just thankful that you saw the foresight today to get something in place for her now. I pause there for a second. Get something in place for her now. And when she feels that, senses that, I want that to grab her heart. You know the worst part about my job, Miss Betty? I just told her the best part. Rhetorical questions, gets attention, it gets people involved. I'm not looking for an answer. It's making sure they're listening because they never know when I'm going to ask them a question that I really mean an answer for. The worst part about my job is when I see daughters like yours, like Mary, have to go around beg, borrowing, and stealing and trying to collect money, put my head down and bury their parents. That's hard, isn't it, Miss Betty? Yeah. I bet you don't want that for Mary, do you? No. So this is the essence, ladies and gentlemen, we're past time of what I'm going to be teaching you over the next several weeks, how to take what we learn from body language to tonality to sales psychology and apply it to our presentation where it's going to move people to take action. Sometimes you only have one shot at a person, one shot. And that one shot, it could either make a difference in them having insurance for their family for generations or zero, and they're beg, borrowing, and stealing and trying to find a way to bury their family. So I want our shot to be the best. So your homework assignment, as I said before, is to work on tonality this week. Those of you that are out there presenting already, I want you to notice how you say and why you're saying it. How are you saying it? And why are you saying it? Why did I just use that word? Was that important? Was that unnecessary? Did it move someone to take action? Then how did I say it? Did I pause? Did I give feeling? Did I give meaning? Or I'm just like a motorboat and I'm just running through this thing from one side to the other. And that's okay. I did that stuff in the beginning too, because my nerves would get the best of me and I would talk fast. I learned to slow down, enunciate, pronunciate, elongate, use tonality, pause, get your breath, put some meaning behind it. And I'm telling you, over the next several weeks, we will practice this, we will work on this. And if you'll stay with me, I can help you become a pro. And I'm not the best, but I'm pretty darn good at teaching and training sales. I've done it my whole life to millions and millions of dollars of insurance sales and other sales. And I think I can help you too. Okay. Any last questions, words of wisdom, thoughts, or anybody wants to share before we log off for tonight? I haven't had dinner yet and I am starving. Questions, comments, thoughts, suggestions?
Yeah, Gary, awesome call tonight. Great job.
Rob, that really means a lot. I always enjoy your calls. I think they're top notch. So truly appreciate that.
Yeah, both of you are like a duet. What do you call two men? You're not a duet, you're a duo.
Oh, so we're like Batman and Robin is what you're saying.
You're like Batman and Robin, and I'm Superwoman. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. Can I be Batman, let Rob be Robin?
Okay.
No,
And
we could just be Batman and Rob.
yeah, that's true, Batman and Rob. But anyway, great call. Love the interaction. Love how you explained it. Are we hanging up? Everybody's hanging up?
We're getting ready
Oh,
to.
yeah.
Unless someone else has
We're
any more
gonna-
questions.
We're gonna let you go eat and stuff, but I thought it was amazing. It was great. And thank you. We're so glad you're with us.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you. Have a great week out there.
Have a
Use some
good
of the
week.
stuff. Start practicing it. Love you guys. See you on the board.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for sharing,
Gary.
Barry.
Bye.
Bye.